Hi, thank you for attending today's webinar on Drive solutions for the education vertical. A little bit of background on Drive. We were founded in 1995, headquartered in Austin, Texas. Have over 50,000 customers around the world and operations and distribution throughout the world as well. And our software has won a number of awards, including recommendations from Buyers Lab and high marks from Gartner. In terms of kind of what makes us unique within the marketplace, and particularly the copier and MFP market, is just the breadth of the product suite that we have to offer. That includes our flagship product, Drive Image, which is a capture and routing application, as well as Drive DM, our document management and workflow application, which is available in the cloud or on premise, as well as Drive Print for cost recovery and mobile printing. And that's Drive Print is a large focus of the presentation today, as it's been probably the most popular application we have for the education vertical. As you may know, we have done a number of webinars for various business applications and vertical market solutions, but today we're focusing on the education market. And there are a number of business challenges that we can help you address. But the thing that's been the biggest change really in the last few years and is still changing rather dramatically is really the proliferation of tablets into the classrooms. And the challenge that creates is how you're actually able to print from those devices. But additionally, schools, the same as everyone, is trying to do more with less and control costs. And they've certainly found that there's a variety of methods through which they control printing costs. So in grade school or high school, that would be assigning quotas to teachers and various staff, restricting who can print in color or the amount of color prints that they can make, and potentially enforcing duplex printing to save on paper costs. In universities or any of the higher education, they've started wanting to share those printing costs with the students. So that used to just be, a free expense or that they incurred, and free service to those students. And what they found is that there's really a lot of waste that's happening. Anytime someone's just kind of given carte blanche with something like that, it was kind of abused, where people are printing a lot of things and then not even bothering to pick up their prints. And so then there's a lot less waste, but then also just overall not having to carry that burden of that expense entirely on their own as they're trying to control costs. Additionally, with any school or education institution, there's going to be a lot of different sensitive records specific to their students. So that could be birth certificates, social security information, also maybe different reports from the teachers or health records they have for those students. And a lot of those records too need to be printed off. So being able to do that in a confidential manner, so that information is not just sitting out on the device for anyone to see. And a couple of statistics here in regards to the tablets and how much that's really gaining in market share. In 2012, the number of tablets actually grew 103%. So now, in terms of the total number of devices in the education space, tablets account for 35% of those devices, and that's expected to continue to show strong growth in 2013 as well, where pretty soon it's going to reach a tipping point to be over 50% of all the devices that are going to be in this market are going to be tablets. And there's not a lot of good solutions for how to print from those devices today. So we'll get into some more pretty specific details on the products, but just at a high level, some of the benefits that you're going to see in the education marketplace with mobile printing and cost accounting is the ability to print any file type to any manufacturer's device, whether it's a desktop printer or a manufacturer's MFP, and do that whether you're on or off the network. Some universities we find or schools want all their kids on the network. Some people do not want people on the network for security concerns or just not wanting to have to manage that much bandwidth. You're going to be able to account for any of the copies and prints that college students are placing, where they can put money on a card and have that go into the system and have that debited off every time they're making a print or a copy. Be able to assign quotas to the teachers, so there's cost control measures there. We do have free apps for iPhone and Android for use on phones and tablets, as well as a Follow Me printing or pull printing application, which typically they say saves 15% on your printing costs across the board. And with our mobile printing application, you can literally print any file type. I mean, it's over 500 file types, even file types you can't render on your device, you'd still be able to print those. So in terms of the actual application themselves, as I mentioned, we can bill print jobs back to a student, or we could bill that to a teacher. If you had a grant for a specific project, we could bill back to that project as well. We also offer the ability to have a secure single sign-on application. So you can authenticate at the device with either a proxy card or a RFID card or a 4-digit short code, and now you're logged into the device to operate on that device as that user. So that could be for secure release of documents. Perhaps I need to print off someone's grades and I don't want that sensitive information just sitting on the device. I can submit that print job. It would go to a queue. I then have to authenticate at the device to release that print job. I could also release that through the Drive Print app. But also by authenticating at the device, you can now perform other functions as that user. The device is aware of who that user is. So say I wanted to send out an email from the device to distribute information to the staff, or for whatever reason, you'd be able to send an email the same way from your MFP that you could from a PC. So that will show up as coming from you. You can name the document the way you want to name it. You would have access to your full address book within Exchange, and you would have that document would show up in your sent items. I have another example here of scanning student records. So again, I could have just be a profile specific to an authenticated user. But for this example, we're asking for the student name, date of birth, and a document type for each of these documents. So I'd input the student name, which could be validated against a backend database for accuracy, enter a date of birth, and then select the document type. Again, this is all customizable. They could have this set up for whatever information they wanted to collect. And then it'll ask me to validate the information that I input, and it'll also ask me for finishing options, where I could select, what quality of print do I want? Do I want that in color? Do I want that to be a duplex? Do I need to have that printed off? And now for this example too, we're actually naming the document based on those characteristics. And if you were scanning into a file server, or if you were scanning into Drivve's own document management system, you could also browse the folder structure from within that system, so that when you scan the document, you're not only converting the file type and cleaning up the image and naming the document, but you're also placing that into its final resting place. Here's a screenshot just of our document management system, Drive DM, which again is available on-premise or in the cloud. And there's a workflow system with this, extensive filtering system for finding your documents. Very easy to use application. This is another application that we've actually won several awards for. And we do have apps for the iPhone or iPad as well for accessing those documents from a mobile device. I also wanted to just walk you through the Drive Print app. So with Drive Print and our mobile printing, we have 4 ways to submit print jobs. We can do the email submission, which I mentioned earlier, which you do not have to be on the network for. So we can either validate that user is part of the directory there or not. Maybe you don't have all the students in a directory, or they don't have their own email address. You just want to leave that open. They can submit an email. We'll print one of over 500 file types to an email address associated with that print device. We can also AirPrint enable any device, which would allow printing from any MacBook, iPad, or iPhone. Or we have a web page upload, which would be useful for printing from a laptop or a tablet without having to have the appropriate print drivers installed on that device. But again, right now we're just going to walk through the Drive Print app, which we have available for iOS and Android phones and tablets. So here I have an attachment to an email. So I could, again, forward that email to an email address associated with the print device to print out the over 500 file types. Or I could hold down my finger on that attachment. That'll bring up the option to either print that, which I could do via AirPrint, or open that within the Drive Print app. So for this example, we're going to open that within the Drive Print app, which would then allow me finishing options. I can select how many copies I'd like of this document. Do I want that in color or monochrome? Do I want to print that off in duplex? Do I want to keep that within my mobile hold queue after it's been printed? It'll ask me to confirm that I wanted to print the document, show me a message as it rasterizes the document, and then let me know that that print job was completed. I would also have the option to go into my job list, which would be similar to the hold queue that you would have for a poll printing or follow me printing application. Here I can see the jobs that have been submitted to my hold queue, select the job that I'd like to print, and when I'm selecting the target that I would like to print that to, I could either select the name of a device or I could scan a QR code. And that QR code could either be part of the home screen for a lockdown device where they're wanting to track all the copies, prints, scans, and faxes, or it could be simply a sticker or a piece of paper that's taped to an MFP that simply tells our server where you want that document printed out. So, the key benefit here is about cost savings related to printing, either by charging that back to students, as would be the case in a university setting, or just restricting the number, the printing or the way they're printing in terms of color, or in terms of enforcing duplex for teachers and staff and schools, where they're very conscious of of trying to minimize costs. Also, the proliferation of tablets, and being able to print from those devices and do that in a secure manner where you can actually validate the people that are part of that directory if you'd like. And being able to do that all from one platform where you have the scanning options with controls for how you scan and classify and name those documents, as well as the cost accounting and the mobile printing, all from one vendor. If you need any more information, you can find that on our website at drivve.com, or you can also email us at sales@drivve.com. Thank you so much for your time.